Okay, everybody. My name is Amin Mojara, if you don't know me, and I am creating this YouTube video, or recording this YouTube video as a complete guide to setting up WordPress on an AWS Ubuntu 16.4 instance, and setting up the SSL certificate, setting up the FTP server, setting up everything, setting up the Bitbucket pipelines. So it's the complete setup for AWS. So all of you who have had problems, I think this video will help you. So what we're going to do is we're going to do an example of a full setup, from start to finish, except for building the launching the EC2 instance. We don't need to do that. You should know how to do that, and you can refer to my other YouTube video for that, and I'll put the link in for that. Then we're going to set up a FTP server on an existing instance, and we're going to set up a virtual host on an existing an existing instance. So let's start with the first one. I got this domain called Tamed Brands Online that I just registered. And so I will go ahead and install all the required software on here. So let's start from the beginning. And I have this cheat sheet right here that it's a Bitbucket snippet that I'm going to include in the video so that you can go, and it's public snippet. So I'm going to first install all of my dependencies. So this is the dependencies for the repositories for the SSL certificates. So I need to go ahead and install those. Press enter. And now I can run my sudo apt update. And that's going to tell me how many packages are needed to be upgraded, which is 72. So now I need to go ahead and run my sudo apt upgrade. And as you can see, it's doing all that. Now, while that's doing that, on my tamed instance, I don't have VSFTP installed. So let me go ahead and install that. So that's this extension right here. So I want to go ahead and run sudo apt-get install -y. Boom. So that's installed. All right, so we're going to be able to run that, and we're almost done with our apt-get update on this one. On my oh, here we go. Alrighty, so now let's go to number 3, and we're going to go ahead and install PHP. Oh, no, we're not. So we did our upgrade. So now we're going to go to number 2. So we're going to install VSFTP, the dependencies that we need to install our SSL certificate, Nginx, and unzip. So let's go ahead and do that. And as you can see, that's almost done. And we're complete. Boom. So now we're going to go ahead, and number 3, we're going to install PHP and PHP unzip. And then what we're going to do is install My Ssl Server. And I'm going to give it a password. Okay. And then I'm going to configure my MySQL server. I'm going to secure it. So I'm going to go ahead and secure the installation right here. And press enter, then Y, then Y, then Y, then Y. All right. So that's number 4. Then I'm going to install PHP Myadmin so that I can access this. So here's the command to do that. And I got to put in a password also. So same MySQL password that I use is what I'm going to use for PHP Myadmin. So yes. Alrighty. So now that I have that, I am going to create a symbolic link to my PHP Myadmin in my web root folder. So just clear this, paste this in here. And this is number 7. So if I look at it, cd var www html, I have my index.html file and my PHP Myadmin file. Link to my PHP admin directory. So now what I want to do is I want to configure my PHP. So let's do that. My PHP Myadmin, I'm sorry. So let's go ahead and do that. So here's the file. And why isn't it going down? Okay. Usually just goes down when I take the mouse down, but okay, so what I want to do is in this snippet file, I have this right here. But since I'm going to be using the same RDS instance, which is this right here, I'm going to be using this tamed boutique instance right here, which is this right here. So I already have this on another server. So what I'm going to go do is pull that up real quick. Let me open this up in another window. Oh, excuse me. So I need to open this up in another window. And give me 1 second. I'm going to open this up in another window. And so I'm actually going to paste what I had in this other thing down here, right here. So let me go ahead and do that real quick. Let me take this off the screen real quick. And alrighty. So as not to show you the password, let me, all right. So here I pasted this in, and the only thing you can't see is the password, which you would put in right here. And so once I have that, I can just go ahead and save this now. So I saved that. And so now that I've saved that, so now my MySQL server is configured. And I can terminate that and terminate this. And I can bring this back over here. All right. So now that I have my server configured, I can go to the next step, which is I want to configure my default Nginx conf file. Oops. So let's go ahead and do that. And basically all you want to do in here is the following. Is you want to add an index.php file. .php. You want to go ahead and add that. And then the other thing you want to add is you want to comment out this try statement. Give it a space. And then you want to come down here. And again, this link is in the it's in the what's name. So we want to copy this right here. And we want to put this right here. Then we want to uncomment these following lines. This and this. Oops. This. Hit return. And then we want to copy these lines right here. Oops. Paste them right there. And that's all you have to do with this file, for this file. Hit Control X, Y, boom. Then what we want to do is we want to get our Nginx conf file right here. First, we got to run the command first. So we want to run this command right here to edit our nginx.conf file. So then we want to come down all the way down here to the end of the HTTP block. Just hit a return and then copy this line of code right here, paste that in, hit Control X, and then you're done with that. Come back here to our EC2 command. So now we're on number 10 and we want to edit our php.ini file. And again, the link to that is right here. So, and actually the links to these two files in the Bitbucket will also be there also. So we want to go ahead and edit this file right here. And what we want to do is we want to search for these values. So the way you do it is just copy this right here. Hit Control W. Oops. I copied the whole line. You want to just copy this part right here. Hit Control W. And erase that. Go down here. Comment this out with a semicolon and put in the new value. And do the same for all 5 of these. Hit Control W. And then hit Control W. And so max input time is right here. So all I have to do is just scroll down to that. So just copy that. Come back over here, scroll down to that, comment that out, paste that right here. And then my memory limit is right here. So I need to copy that, come down here, comment this out, and paste that in. Hit Control X, Y, return, come back up to my snippet file again. So we just need to auto start our PHP in MySQL. I mean, in our PHP in our Nginx if the server reboots. So we want to go ahead and do that. Just run these two commands right here. And then we want to start our services. So we want to come down here and copy this command right here. And then we want to start. So we started Nginx. Now we want to start PHP. And we want to make sure that Nginx is running correctly. So you just go sudo nginx-t to test, and you should get this message right here if it's okay in your conf and everything else is okay. So then what we want to do, and if you need to reload Nginx, this is the command to reload it. These other commands from 13 to 15. Um, uh, from 13 to 15 is all have to do with Red Hat, so you don't have to worry about that. And now we're going to install WordPress in the root directory. So we want to go to number 16 and change into the root directory, which I'm already in. So I want to go ahead and install WordPress. And then I'm going to run number 17, which is grab WordPress from its remote repository. Hit clear, and if I do ls, so then I have this zip file right here, and then I want to go ahead and unzip it. So copy this for number 18, unzip it, and now you should see a WordPress. So we can get rid of that latest zip file. So now all we have is WordPress, and I am going to rename the WordPress directory. So here's the command to do that. So I'm going to go sudo mv, so WordPress, and I'm going to name this Sinaj. Yeah, I'm going to name it Sinaj. Now I'm going to name it M Art of Hustle. So I'm renaming it repository. I mean the directory. So now I have M Art of Hustle, and I have all these things. So now Tamed Boutique should come up in the browser now. I mean, Tamed Brands should come up in the browser. Welcome to Nginx. So we have our default things. So now what we want to do is we want to go ahead and configure. This. But before we configure WordPress, let's go into the folder. So let's go cd m Art of Hustle. And we want to change the permissions on all of our directories in there. So, and we want to do it recursively. So let's do that. So we have that. So if I do a ls, so now these are ls-al, all these are now ready. So now what I want to do is I want to go ahead and create a wp-config.php. So if we look into the wp-config. If we look into the directory, we only have a sample.php. So we got to run the command sudo cp copy wp-sample.php and create a new file, wp-config.php. So we did that. So now we see that we have this wp-config.php. Alrighty. So we're gonna want to edit that file, this wp-config.php, and you can get after you put the database, the username, the database name, and all that, then you can get this Bitbucket to get everything else. But now we want to create a virtual host for this also. So so we want to go ahead and create a virtual host for this, because we're going to set up the virtual host and we're going to set up the FTP. So let's first create the directory for that. So let's go to our root directory. And you always want to name the virtual host directory after the domain. So this is called tamedbrands.com. So we're going to name it tamedbrands.com. Take off the take off the HTTP. So we got tamedbrands.com. And boom. So let's look at it. cd/var/www. And in there, we should have tamedbrands.com. So we do. All right. So now that we have that, we want to copy everything inside of the HTML directory that's in the root HTML directory inside the www into the tamedbrands.com. But before we do that, what I want to do is I want to configure my wp-config.php so I can go ahead and finish installing WordPress. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go in and take my instance and log in via SSH so I can download my oh, actually, I don't have to do that. So what I'm going to do is go into my HTML directory and then into my Hustle. And then I'm going to go back up a little bit and edit my PHP file right here. So here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to go here and edit my PHP file. So I know what my database name is, so I can go here. Yep. So here's my database name, Tamed Brands. So that's not a big thing for you guys to know. So let me put in my Tamed Brands. My username is Tamed Boutique. And I'm not going to put in the password for you guys to see, but I am going to put in the link to the hosting. I mean, to the server link. So I'm going to go ahead and get that endpoint right here. Copy that. Instead of localhost, it's going to be that. So then I'm going to come down here and get rid of my salts. Well, get rid of these salts by hitting Control K, getting rid of those lines, and then coming over here and getting the salts from WordPress, refreshing this, getting these salt keys, pasting them in. And if you want to know where to get them, in the WordPress WP config file, here's the link right here. So you can copy this and then paste it in your browser. So these are the salt keys that I need. And then the last thing I need is my my snippet right here. So let me copy this. And I'm going to give the database a prefix of tamed B TB. So that's for Tamed Brands. And then under the WP, what's the name? The bug, I'm going to paste that in. And then it's always supposed to be above happy blogging. And then I'm just going to take my screen over here and put in the the database password. So let me do that real quick. Right here. You guys don't see that? All right. And now that I put in the database password, I can go ahead and save this file by just hitting Control X, Y. And now I'm actually ready to install WordPress. So let me go ahead and do that. Come over here to my Tame Boutique instance and / and go to Art of Hustle. Oh, I gotta reload Nginx, so that's where the reload part comes in. So let me go up here and find the reload command. I just don't feel like typing it in or remembering it. So let me go ahead and reload Nginx, then do my sudo nginx-t, make sure everything is correct. And so now that should load, and I'm going to go ahead and install WordPress. And I'm going to call this Tamed Brands. I am going to put in my username, password, my email, and install. Boom. So now if I log in, alrighty, so looks like I got one update. I shouldn't have any plugins that need updated. Well, it's always needs, for some reason, the Kismet always needs to be updated. So I'm going to update that, get rid of that. So that's updated. Get rid of this Hello Dolly stuff. So we got that. So if we go to our MySQL database now, and I click on here, now it's all populated. So we got our stuff in our MySQL database. And as you can see, you see the prefix right here, the TB prefix. So that's good. So now we're down to configuring FTP. So we need to configure FTP. So we're down to where are we at? WordPress, rename it, okay. And we're down to right here to number 17. So now, now that I have WordPress in there, now I can copy everything in my HTML folder to my tamed group folder. So I'm going to go sudo cp-r. So let's go back and cd : and then clear. And I'm going to copy that. And then I'm going to tamedboutique.com. tamedbrands.com. So I'm copying everything in my HTML folder and I'm going to put it in Tamed Brands. So now if I go to Tamed Brands, if I go to Tamed Brands and I should see that HTML folder. So HTML and everything in here is what I need. So now I just need to get rid of these files right here. So let me do that. So I'm going to go sudo rm-rf index and php myadmin. I don't need those in there. So the only thing I need in there is art of hustle. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to go cd art of hustle, and I'm going to run the command that I ran before, which is to change the permissions on those folders again, so that those permissions on those folders are changed. So ls, so boom. So, and the last thing I'm going to do is I need to copy this PHP directory up one level. I mean, this index.php up one level. So I'm going to go cp dash, sudo cp index.php dot. That's all I need to do to copy it up to one level. And then I'm going to copy this art of hustle right here and just go cd ls. And so I'm going to edit that index.php file, sudo nano index.php, and come down here, and I'm going to point to that art of hustle folder and paste that and save that. And so I'm good now. So when I'm ready to switch my directories, then we'll be good. And the SSL certificate and all that will be good. So now let's create our FTP. So what we want to do is we want to go ahead and do our FTP. And that starts down at number 17. So we're going to go ahead and edit our FTP conf file. And this is real simple and real quick. So do that. Paste that. So I want to come down here and now you can search for it with the Control W, but I pretty much want to write enable, uncomment that out, and I want to unmask I want to unmask this right here. So I want to comment this out. So those are these two commands right here. Then I want to uncomment out croot local underscore user. Yeah, so now you got to be careful on this. So let me show you when we get to that command, because it's in two places. So the first place it's at, you don't want to uncomment that. So right here, do not uncomment this line right here. Uncomment the line right here where it says when it's above list enabled. So let's uncomment that. Then all the rest of the stuff is easy. So we're gonna rename VSFTP to FTP. So we're gonna come down here, and that is located the PAM service right here. So take off the VSFTP and just have it FTP. And the rest of the stuff we just need to copy. So we're gonna copy this and just append this at the end of the file. And then the last thing you want to do is copy this. And what you want to do is you want to give it the DNS name that you have on your virtual machine. So I'm going to assume that you know where to find those at. If you just click on your virtual machine, not this one. If you click on your virtual machine, you will find the DNS in this area right here. So let's see here. Which one am I not really using right here? So I'm not using this one. So this one doesn't matter. So this is the DNS that you want to copy and put that in this place right here. Put that right here. So that's what you want to copy and put it right there. So let me get the tamed. Oh, you know what? I'm going to destroy this tamed instance, so it doesn't matter. So I'm going to copy this DNS right here. And I'm going to go ahead and come over here and paste this right here. So I'm going to paste that right there, and then I can save this file. And now I need to create a username. So the next thing, so then I want to copy everything into my shells. So I want to copy my no login. So, I got these mixed up. This should be 23. This right here should be 23, and this right here should be 24. So what I'm going to do is this. So let me cut this. And make this 23. And make this 24. So now I'm going to create a username So just copy this right here and just, oops, you know what? That's not how it's supposed to go. Let me show you what I just did. So cd dot dot. So I create a username called username, and I don't want to do that. So I'm going to do sudo rm-rf username, erase that. So we don't want that. So cd colon. So I want to paste that in again, and I want to create a username called master. So that's all I needed to do. And then I want to create, then I want to do the password, create the password for that. And master is the name. And so it's going to ask me to create a password. I'm doing that. So now I've created the password. And so now what I want to do is I want to go ahead and echo that into our shell scripts and into our ET shell scripts to run. So the no login is now entered. So now what I want to do is I want to own the tamed boutique directory, the HTML directory that we have. So I want to go ahead and go. So the first thing I want to do is just copy this. Well, actually just copy this right here. So copy this space, and then I want to copy this right here, space, and then all I just want to do is just have master. So the FTP, when I FTP, master will automatically see this directory right here. That's the root directory for the FTP. So now that I did that, boom. So now what I want to do is I want to go ahead and give this read, write, and destroy permissions. So I want to change that. So tamed brands HTML, boom. And now I just want to restart my FTP service. And I want to make sure it's running. So let's do that. It's running. So now what I want to do is I want to be able to log in. So let's come over here to transmit and create an FTP service. I mean a login. So here's my URL. So this is called Tamed Brands. And my username is master. Let me put in my password. And I want to uncheck passive because I don't want that to be checked. All right, so I have all that set up. So if I come over here to my cd/var/www tamed HTML directory, I should see my index.php and my art of hustle directory. So if I log in, and that's what I see. So I'm good. I'm seeing everything now. So now what I want to do is the last thing I need to do is create my SSL certificate. So let's go over here. So what I want to do is I want to copy this right here, number 25. So clear and cd. And I want to call this tamedbrands.com. So that's what I want to call my new Nginx configuration file for my virtual host. And then I want to go ahead and edit that file. And that's this command right here. So I want to go sudo nano. And I'm just going to erase everything in here. I don't need anything in here. So erase everything in here. Now you don't have to do this. You can edit it if you want to, but just easier for me to just come over here and just copy this whole conf file right here. And I have a link to this again. And what I want to do is come up here. The only thing I need to do is add the server name, which is tamedbrands.com. Tamedbrands.com, and add that as the root directory. Tamedbrands.com, and that's all I have to do. Everything else is the same, as you can see. Hit Control X, Y. Come back up to my snippets. And what I want to do is I want to create another symbolic link. So here I go. So I'm creating a symbolic link with my tamedbrands.com file. And I'm going to link that into my sites enabled of my Nginx. So let's do that. That symbolic link is there. And now I want to own that directory, that HTML directory. So I'm going to go run this command right here. And I'm going to go my username, which is master, master. And then I am going to go /var www tamed brands HTML. That's the directory I want to own. Boom. All right. So I got that. And I'm going to run my Nginx configuration to make sure everything is correct. And it is. And I'm going to reload Nginx. So I'm going to go sudo system load Nginx. Boom. Now, the last thing I need to do is install my SSL certificate. So I'm just going to go right here and run this command right here to install my SSL certificate. Put my email address. And I'm going to agree to the conditions. I'm going to allow them to use data, whatever. And as you can see, it only has one brand. So I'm just going to hit enter to create the certificate for all that. And then I'm automatically redirect it. So I'm going to type in 2 to automatically redirect all traffic to HTTPS. And it's successfully created. All right. So the last thing I need to do is to put my cron tab on here. So, let's restart Nginx again. So we can just hit our up arrow. So let's test the configuration, make sure that's correct. And let's just reload Nginx. So now then I'm going to go ahead and make sure my certificate auto renews. And I'm going to use a nano editor to do this. Let's come down here and paste this last command in to make sure that it auto renews. And that's the cron. That's the cron job. It's going to run every night. And that's it for the total installation. So I've installed WordPress. Now, all I need to do is go to my root directory, my default root directory. And as you can see, I can get rid of this Art of Hustle folder because now WordPress is being ran from the other directory. So I can go sudo rm-rf Art of Hustle and get rid of that. And if I come back to the browser, you will see that all that is going to change is the HTTPS. So as you can see, WordPress is still installed. It's in the other directory. 45. So I'm in. So now what I need to do is just change my settings because I want it to do so I want to go ahead and get rid of that. I want people to be able to navigate, and I want it to be HTTPS. So S : All right. So now that I have that, I am going to save that, and it's going to automatically kick me out. But if I go back in, now you can see my settings have been saved, and it's on HTTPS. And if I click on and go to the site, as you can see, it's on the root domain. So tainboutique.com. So boom. So we got Tain Boutique set up. So what I want to do is I want to add this to an existing instance. So, oh, there is one last thing I got to do. I got to set up my bitbucket pipelines for this. So if I go ahead and I come over here to my, so here's my YAML file. And I want to go ahead and run this. I already have my repository set up. So if I do a git status, so everything is clean. So what I want to do is I probably just want to create a README file. So let's get a README file so that you'll see that this is actually gonna yes, this is actually gonna save and work. So let's go to tamed brands, save that README file into tamed brands, and change this to tamed brands repository. So we're going to save that. We're going to do a git status. So we see we have that. So clear. We're going to do a git add dash. Then we're going to do a git commit dash m with the message adding readme file. And then we're going to do a git push origin master. So now that we've done that, our FTP should work. So let's go to the pipelines repository for tamed thing. And as you can see, if I refresh this, it is running. Oh, it failed. I know why it failed. So let's go into seeing why it failed. It failed because I had the wrong configuration going on. So I have the git init. So what I need to do is I actually need to run that first. So let me do that. So let me go to the pipelines, and I actually had that stopped. So this is the initial one that I need to run, the initial bitbucket configuration. So let me go ahead and run this. So let's rerun this. And that's going to run. I'm going to let this run and then come back to it. And so now I'm going to go ahead and set up Fatcat Media House on an existing instance. So I'm going to go ahead and set it up on this Imagination Everywhere instance. So I already have the terminal window open. Yeah, I already have the terminal window open right here. So here's the terminal window. So what I need to do is, so I already have a virtual directory for Imagination Everywhere. I need to create one for fatcatmediahouse.com. So that's what I'm going to go do. So sudo mkdir. And then it's the same process. What I want to do is with the Fatcat one, I want to go ahead, and this is already an existing site. So I'm going to go ahead and install the required things into the database. So I'm going to import that SQL file. Go, let that go. I don't know why this. Oh, you know what? I didn't get everything set up for this. So, but you know you got to just get everything set up. So let's go back to the bitbuckets.yaml, and that failed. Let me see what the view configuration is. Oh, that failed because of the init issue. So what I need to do is I need to edit this. Let me go ahead and edit this. Let me go to source. And actually, let me edit it in Visual Studio Code so that we can get it right. So what I'm going to do is I am going to, wait a minute. Let me make sure I got everything right. Oh, I can just push. So I guess I can just push this. So let me just push this. It doesn't need to be initted. So all I have to do is just delete this and comment this, commit, and now this should run. This should pass. So let's go ahead and see this running. Build is setting up. And as you can see, it's running. Password is passed. The password is not working. Password is not working. So let me go in here and go to environmental variables. Oh, I thought I master. That's why it's not working. Now, if I run it again, if I run this again, so let's go ahead and run this again. Let's just run this one. And now this should work. It should work. So in my environmental variables, you got to make sure that everything is correct, else it won't work. So the username and the password. And again, I don't have the right username and password. Let me look on my cd/home. Yeah, so I got the right username. Let me just put in the password. So let me come back here, come to my environmental variables, edit my password. Let me take this off of here. All right, so that should be correct. Let's try this one more time. Let's try to run this one more time, and it should work this time. Let's rerun this. Run our pipeline. All we're trying to do is this. We're trying to get our YAML file in this directory. So when we refresh, that YAML file should be in our directory. So if we run this, run it. And this one, just configure everything. And this is all we need to do is just create a FTP user for this. So you basically need to do that. So the last thing I'm just showing you is the pipelines configuration, and it still hasn't worked. But it does work. Trust me, it works. Like I have it on another instance that it's working on, and I just have to fix this. But all you have to do is just make sure that your username and your password are correct and that everything is working correctly. So I apologize for this part of the video, but trust me, you can commit your code. And as you can see, the FTP is working right here. So obviously I'm doing something right. So I don't know why this is not, I probably just have the Bitbucket's pipeline thing not correct. Let me just make sure that I have the whole qualified domain. Yep, I have everything in here. So FTP username, FTP password. So master, and then I have save that. All right, so yeah, so I have that. So the only other thing that I can think of, just to make sure, is let's just do this. So git add dash git commit dash m changed YAML YAML file, and let's do a git push origin master. Git pull. Colon Q. Okay. So now let's do git push origin master. Okay. That should work. Let's see if this works now. Master is building. Hopefully this works. And no, our username and our password is not working. So so I did the git commit. Let's go to the source. Let me make sure my YAML file is correct. Comment this out. Oops. We don't want that. We want pipelines. So let's see if this works again. This is pending. I have to update, get FTP. There, it worked. I don't know why I didn't. So now that it worked, if we come over here, we refresh this, we should see the pipeline.yaml and the get FTP log. So now what I need to do is I need to pull this real quick so that because it's not going to work if it's still on git init. So let me do a git pull. Boom. So now that's changed. So now I need to change this. Now I need to uncomment this and comment this out. So, and now I just need to go and do a git add dash git change YAML file again and do a git push origin master. All right, so now we should have one more build and we should be good. And if we hit pending, we should see it build. Now, I'm just going to say this. This was a task trying to get this process set up. AWS has something else called code deploy, but that's a little bit overkill for what you need to do if you're only editing one site and one virtual machine. But code deploy and code pipeline are some good references to use if you want to edit a whole bunch of sites and virtual machines at the same time, like a private VPC that you have a lot of files and you need to update them all at once. Code deploy and code pipelines are good, and you can use them with Bitbucket pipelines. So that's the end of this video, and thank you for laboring with me to watch this whole thing. And again, the same process is for this Fat Cat one and this Tame group. This Tam group one, which I'm gonna edit and add FTP so I can put a video on here, and that's what's been keeping me from doing that, and it's been a pain. Getting everybody set up on AWS. I have over 100 sites. So thank you guys for watching this video, and we'll see you in the next one.